Americans are sleeping about 7 hours a night, but most of us still don't feel well rested. Nearly 38% of Americans sleep under 7 hours. Only 12% get 8 hours or more. And to top things off, the average American says they feel well rested just 3 days per week. And here's the real twist. Gen Z might actually be doing it better than everyone else. Let's break down what's really happening to sleep in America. This data comes from our 2026 State of Sleep study, analyzing responses from over 50,000 US adults across every state. We looked at sleep duration, bedtimes and wake times, alarm usage, napping habits, and much more. The average American sleeps about 7 hours per night. The American Academy of Sleep Medicine recommends 7 hours or more for adults, so that sounds fine until you zoom out. Americans also sleep about 2 extra hours on days off. That's not preference, that's debt repayment. This pattern is called social jet lag. Social jet lag is the chronic mismatch between an individual's biological clock and their social obligations. Researchers at the University of Munich found that inconsistent weekday versus weekend sleep schedules disrupt circadian rhythm and increase long-term health risks. Instead of sleeping enough consistently, we're borrowing from the weekend. And then there's napping. 59% of Americans nap at least once per week. Research shows that short naps can improve alertness. NASA famously found that a 26-minute nap improved pilot performance by 34%. But when does napping become compensation behavior? That's a sign we're managing exhaustion, not optimizing sleep. And it's not just how long we're sleeping, it's when. The most common bedtime in America is 10 to 11 p.m., but nearly 29% of Americans go to bed after midnight, with many of them relying on multiple alarms to wake up. Harvard Medical School explains that circadian rhythm misalignment, when your sleep timing doesn't match your internal clock, can increase stress, metabolic issues, and mood disruption. Modern schedules, late-night screens, early alarms, and rigid work start times are colliding with biology. Many of us are waking up before our bodies are ready, and the alarms are proof of that. When you break this down by generation, things get interesting. Gen Z stays with the latest, with 45% going to bed after midnight. That said, as we grow older, we consistently see bedtimes get earlier and earlier. But here's the twist. Gen Z actually gets the most total sleep, but they rely on alarms more than any other older generation. Research from the American Academy of Sleep Medicine explains that adolescents and young adults naturally experience a delayed circadian phase. Their internal clock shifts later, making them feel alert at night and more sleepy in the morning. There's also a life stage factor. As people age, total sleep duration tends to decline, and sleep becomes lighter and more fragmented. The National Institute on Aging notes that older adults often experience earlier sleep timing and more nighttime awakenings. So younger adults may be biologically wired to sleep later, and if their schedules allow it, they may actually get more total rest. Older adults, on the other hand, often shift earlier naturally, but may sleep fewer total hours and experience more interruptions. Age isn't the only biological factor at play. Women report sleeping slightly longer than men, but men report feeling better rested. 22% of men report getting less than 8 hours of sleep a week, whereas 32% of women say the same. Despite this gap, women only report feeling well rested 3 days per week, but men say they feel well rested 4 days. Why is that? Multiple studies show women are more likely to experience insomnia symptoms and sleep fragmentation. Hormonal shifts, stress load, and caregiving responsibilities may all play a role. So while women may log more time in bed, perceived sleep quality doesn't always match duration. So if biology explains part of the gap, the environment can help explain the rest. Temperature is a big one. Cold rooms dominate preference. Research shows that optimal sleep temperature is around 60 to 67 degrees Fahrenheit. A cooler room helps your body's core temperature drop, which is beneficial for initiating sleep. Studies also show that keeping the room cooler can help you stay asleep longer and improve sleep state distribution, meaning deeper sleep and more REM sleep sleep. On the other hand, having the room too hot is linked to poorer sleep and more wakefulness. Sleep position matters too. 86% of Americans sleep on their side at least some of the time. Side sleeping can reduce snoring and acid reflux, which may partially explain its dominance. And lastly, most people are not washing their sheets weekly. Gross. WebMD reports that pillowcases could harbor 17,000 times more bacteria than a toilet seat after just 1 week of use. An unclean sleep environment can disrupt sleep, skin, breathing, and your overall health. With that in mind, please wash your sheets.
This is the worst.
Speaking of washing sheets, why is Delaware so dirty? At least when it comes to washing sheets, that is. Only 16.7% of people reported washing their sheets at least once a week. That pales in comparison to North Carolina, where almost half of sleepers wash their sheets weekly. When it comes to total average hours slept, Georgia reports the most sleep, while Indiana reports the least. And lastly, we see Arizona sets the fewest alarms, while Nebraska sets the most. Overall, there's huge regional variation across these different categories. Work culture, commute time, daylight exposure, and climate are all likely contributors. States with longer commute times, for example, often correlate with shorter sleep duration. You can't change your state overnight, but you can change your setup. King and queen mattresses dominate ownership. Room setup preferences vary, but comfort consistently ties to reported restfulness. Research from the PMC shows mattress quality can significantly impact pain, stiffness, and perceived sleep quality. So finding the right mattress that fits your needs is important. 2/3 of Americans have no clue what mattress they are interested in buying next, but most can agree they want good pressure relief, good cooling, and low motion transfer. Setting up the correct sleeping environment is just as important as getting enough sleep. So what does this all mean for you? Consistency beats weekend recovery. Creating a regular sleep schedule and sticking to it is more likely to keep you feeling rested more regularly. Also, cooler environments align with better sleep physiology. 68% of Americans stated that cooling was one of the most important factors when considering a mattress. And lastly, earlier bedtimes correlate with better sleep, especially when they align with your natural rhythm. Sleep in America isn't necessarily getting worse, it's just getting more complicated. We're balancing work, screens, schedules, and biology. How many hours did you sleep last night? And did you feel well rested? Well, if your mattress is the problem, we've tested over 400 different mattresses and made a list of our top 12. Check it out here.